Thank you. All right. Thank you, Renee. Can everyone hear me all right? Give me a thumbs up. All right. So I've been asked to stand here and present, so I won't be moving too much. But let me start by, first of all, saying a huge thank you for being here and good morning to all of you. Look, you had an opportunity and the option to be anywhere in the world and any part of WA and Perth today, and you chose us. So that itself, says that we're first of all very grateful for all of you to be here, listening to us for the next hour or so. Renee's already introduced me, so I won't go through that again, but I'm super excited this morning to share with you what Google has come up with in terms of search and the narrative for AI. This was essentially released, I think, in April, and we're starting to share this more broadly. We had our Google Marketing Live event go live in San Francisco last week, and then we did Australia this week as well. So this stuff that you're going to hear about today is absolutely brand new, and I'm very excited to be sharing this with you all today. Great. So with that, with further ado, we are at an inflection point, right? 2024, there's a lot of change that's happening. Everybody has heard of the word AI and the stuff it's doing for businesses and transforming businesses, over and over again. If you've seen a business, especially for us, we have the privilege and honor to work with many businesses. We see a business doing things 2 months back and what rapidly is changing in about a month or two, and the shape that it's taking, it's transforming so rapidly that even we are not able to keep up, right? And two big changes essentially that are happening is one in the AI space, especially if you're thinking, and we are all marketers. I'm guessing most of us are marketers and business owners in this room today. One is on the AI front, and the other one is on the cookies and privacy and measurement. So I'm going to touch upon these two topics in most point today, but also share with you all some of the most recent releases that are happening with AI and Google Ads, etc. Okay. Now, Renee mentioned a little earlier, I'm a bit of a part of the furniture at Google, 16 years. I've worked in about 5 different markets, and I've seen Google go through a few inflection points and transformations in its time. The last time, I think, not too long ago, I was in WA. We did a presentation, and I still remember doing that with Bonfire. We were speaking about mobile, the transformation and the change that was happening with mobile. And at that point, the narrative was, Google is helping everybody find things now, go to places now, and buy things now, right? It's changing things. But the change that we're actually seeing with AI is far, far more transformative and far, far more exciting. We can see the excitement within our own organizations and what we are doing at Google, but also with customers and agency partners that we're seeing in the market as well. So this is a really exciting time to actually be alive and to be in this industry working with all of you today. Now, but with that excitement, let's not forget the complexities that it comes up with, right? It is actually complex, right? And our job as marketers and business owners becomes even more complex with things happening. More formats to think about, more touch points to think about, and not one person can manage all of this alone. To give you some data, more than half of consumers are using 5 or more resources before actually making a decision. Just leave you for like 5 seconds with that thought. 5 or more different touch points and resources before actually making a decision. Now, this is at an all-time high, right? And 15% of those daily searches have never been searched before. So just think about that for a second. These are new searches that are coming up every single day. 15% of those billions of searches that we have never been searched before. And the way people are finding and using information is changing as well, right? Earlier, it used to be a text box, you type stuff in, but that's changing. Today, you've got voice, you've got text, you've got circle, you've got scribble, and even humming. Who would have thought, right? Hum and find out what song is that, right? And thanks to the multi-search, now they're able to basically combine all of these things to go ahead and express themselves as well, right? For example, on the screen, what you see right now is somebody is searching with this example that you see, that they're looking for a dress, but then at the same time, they're able to ask for it in green. So that context plus content is actually really transforming the way people are searching. We're seeing 12 billion visual searches a month using Lens alone. 12 billion a month, right? And that's basically 4 times what it used to be before. And these numbers are actually just continuing to increase. Now, with all of this, who has heard of cookie deprecation? Hands, pretty much everyone. I'm so grateful you have, because it is important. It is very, very important. Look, there is multiple organizations and regulatory bodies involved in these decisions, so it's not just Google alone. And it's changing, right? It's going to change the way, and it's going to transform the way we do marketing. Third-party cookies are being phased out, and it requires all of us to invest in first-party cookie and data from our customers. And if we are able to really capture this option and do this really well, that will really, really help and be the crux of how we transform our businesses going forward. The reason I say it's going to be the crux in how we transform our businesses going forward, because that is going to really inform the AI capabilities of what you can be doing for your customers if you have that right customer data. Now, at the same time, the expectations of marketing is increasing from businesses, right? CEOs and CFOs are under immense pressure, right, for every dollar that they're spending to provide some sort of a return, right? And if you are a business owner, you're actually asking questions to your CEO and CFOs like, hey, what's going on, right? Why should I be investing more money in marketing? So the marketing always gets questioned. And there's a reason, right? Because it is getting tighter, right? And only this data as well, it's very interesting, is only half of CEOs see marketing as a top growth driver. They look at other aspects as well, right? And if you're a CEO in the room today and you're saying, oh, that's me, I'm not surprised. It is a fact, right? Because there is tremendous pressure, right? And if you're a CMO or a practitioner in marketing today, there's more pressure on you to do this as well. So when I talk about the inflection point, this is where it really serves as an opportunity to really solidify and prove the role of marketing as a profit center. You're no longer a cost center. This is the moment, and this is the point where you can actually go out to your CFO and your organization and say, hey, let me tell you how to make marketing as a profit center and not a cost center for you. And that's where Google AI comes into play, right? There is no debate that it's transforming businesses. It's transforming how people operate. Generative AI has dominated headlines in the last couple of years and continues to do so. There are multiple other branches, right? There are other branches of AI like analytical and predictive AI, which are less prominent, but there's a lot of work going on in that space. But it's less prominent and important to marketers, but it is there, right? It's a combination of all of this essentially that's really, really helping transform businesses. But today we're not here to talk about the overall AI, at least not me. I'm not that much of an expert in the topic, but I'm going to talk about what Google AI is going to be doing and how we're helping Google AI be helpful and make people's lives easier. Now, we all know that we have 15 products that each serve more than 500 million people, and 6 of those products actually go ahead and serve more than 2 billion people. So that's a lot of information and data that we have the opportunity to work with. And we recently launched Gemini. Show of hands who've already heard of Gemini before. Perfect. Oh, that's great. This is a very informed audience, which is great to see. Look, most models used to do just like a single model, but Gemini is multimodal language model, which is essentially it's looking at search. It's looking at text. It's looking at audio. It's looking at video and also code. Now, we are bringing Gemini and integrating that into pretty much all our products, right? Like Android, Bard, Pixel, Cloud, and it's really powering Google products to essentially help make AI useful to all our products as well. It's powering conversations in Google Ads. It's powering how we are actually building ads, assets into ads, etc., which I'm going to talk about in a bit. But this is the crux of everything that we're doing at Google, and there's a lot of investment, there's a lot of excitement around Gemini in our business. Now, for all of us, what I wanted to make sure we learn and we understand today essentially is AI is not going to do marketing for us, right? Marketing is about understanding your audiences. Marketing is about understanding your customers. Marketing is about people, right? AI is not going to be doing marketing, but AI can be an enabler, right? Which can allow marketers to actually be marketers, right? So if you are in the room and a marketer, oh, is AI going to do marketing? No, right? I can tell you it cannot. So exciting thing is how we utilize AI to really help us be marketers and do marketing really, really well. So you are in the driver's seat, and you will be the ones to actually really create the real value for your customers going forward. But you can actually go ahead and put Google AI to work for you as marketers, right? And we'll talk about that now. We call this the flywheel of opportunity and the flywheel of actually driving transformation and growth at Google. Essentially, in the mix of all of this is creative, measurement, and media, but it's all yours, right? Unless we have that input from you and from your customers, we won't be able to successfully do this. And we'll talk about that now. We'll start with measurement. I spoke about it a little earlier, about cookie deprecation, etc. It is going to be one of the most important and powerful things that you will be investing in and getting right if you are to use AI in today, tomorrow, and in the future for your business. Getting your measurement right will be very important. Now, you know that, and we spoke about this, 12 billion, different unique searches just through Lens. 15% of those never been searched before. So just imagine if we don't get the measurement right and integrate it, it's going to get so much more difficult to really understand what that signals of audiences look like for our business. And what you are, out and about that you can be doing with your customers is essentially be able to get that information and exchange that for value, right? Because once you have the input of what those audiences look like, you will be able to actually add the right value to them to exponentially really grow that for the customers. Now, you might be asking the question, oh man, I've got so many things to think about. I have to think about measurement, I have to think about privacy, and I have to run my business and pivot, etc. But we ran a study, and 72% of marketing decision makers and influencers agree that it is possible to both enhance privacy protection and improve performance simultaneously, right? And we did this study with Kantar and Google, and essentially it is possible. It's all about us really identifying where to start and how to go about it. And we work with Bonfire and partners alike, where we work with them to really bring the best of and most recent of Google to them, and they're able to really scale that for us in the ecosystem as well. So definitely have a conversation about how that can be done. Now, with third-party cookies going away, there are a few things that we need to be doing, right? But before we talk about what needs to be done, why it should be done, right? It will get harder to measure how people are interacting with your ads. It will get harder to tell who took action, and it will get harder to reach your customers or customers like them into marketing if you're not able to do this change, right? So that's why the first-party data, getting that right, becomes super important. So there are a few things that we need to be doing, right? First, we need to establish a robust sitemap tagging, right? With Google Tag, get that right. Second, get your enhanced conversions going. Third, make sure your Google Analytics is optimized in a privacy-safe way. And finally, for markets that actually care about consent mode, make sure that consent mode is done properly as well. Consent mode, essentially, for those who don't know, this respects users' choices while also enabling comprehensive measurement via sort of like improved modeling that it helps us do for consumers. Now, we also launched the Google Ads Data Manager, which is essentially built to simplify all of what I just spoke about, right? The way you use data in your marketing, it really helps you, connect with your consumers' data to then take Google AI-powered ads, and integrate that with the data wherever the data lives. So if you're not familiar with this, our team at Bonfire is, so definitely feel free to have a conversation with them. They should be able to help you out with this. And then obviously we're doing a lot with Privacy Sandbox. Again, this is one of the key areas where we're really focusing with industry, to make sure that technology that's getting utilized is getting utilized in a very safe and privacy-safe way as well. Now, I'll leave you on this section with two questions that you should be asking your team. The first question is, how are we collecting data and managing first-party data? If you haven't asked your marketing team this question or your tech team this question, first question to ask them as a business owner. The second one is, what changes have you made to your marketing tech to prepare for deprecation of third-party cookie? So on the measurement thing, if two things you're going to take away, these two are the questions that you should be asking. Now, next up is exciting part, which is around the media, right? If you think about media and everything that I've spoken about with products and solutions, 15 products, 2 billion, 6 of those with 2 billion users, Google is one of your strongest partners in the market to help with marketing, right? We've got the breadth and depth of platforms and the data that you can be using. Now, think about it from a perspective, consider on an average day, people around the world are watching more than 700 million hours of YouTube content on TV devices. 700 million hours of YouTube content on TV devices, right? And we've already spoken about the search. Now, imagine all of this sort of like data available to Google. Now, what we want to do is essentially taking all of that and optimizing towards your business goals, right? Understanding your goals are in your control, and how you use that to tell AI what to do becomes the most important part of the conversation when it comes to marketing and achieving those business goals. Previously you could have said something like, show my product to 18 to 25-year-old women with an interest in pickleball shoes, right? How is that changing is essentially you can actually go ahead and, I just spoke about business goals, you can actually go ahead and now say, sell my product profitably to whoever is interested in it. It just changes the game altogether. You're no longer really, succumb to a certain audience type but it's everybody. And that entire data and the media that you utilize will really help inform those conversations and those decisions. Again, 50 million permutations per day. Some of our customers, are running search text ads, but the hero product, and this is what, we've also spoken at length at Google Marketing Live globally, that happened a week ago, is Performance Max. If you've not heard of Performance Max and have not already implemented, I would urge you to definitely talk to, Renee and the team at Bonfire to get that going within your business. It essentially, all it needs is for you to tell what you're looking for from profitability, from convergence perspective. Your business and your teams supply the signals, creative assets, and data, and then Performance Max goes to work for you. Gone are the days when you're essentially sitting there and doing a lot of heavy lifting. AI and Gemini that we spoke about is really enabling this to go to work for you. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Doing stuff manually versus actually doing this, we are seeing 13% Performance Max uplift since its launch, and 18% increase in profitability if you're using this product, for your business. So, and this data is just with 1 year ago. So we're seeing some remarkable, improvements. And as you can imagine, I spoke about the change earlier, right? It's so rapid. We are investing that much in these solutions and products as well, and that's really helping us enable these exponential growth, opportunities for businesses. Performance Max is just one product. I'm going to fly through a few more products that we've most recently launched that you can see. This one on the screen is, if you want to capture more demand, broad match on Google Search. Now we're calling this a power pair. Performance Max and broad match essentially will really help you capture all the audiences that your business can really be going after. So Performance Max and broad match together is a deadly combination. If you want to drive more conversions, we've got Demand Gen as a product. Again, if you're marketers, not heard of this, definitely talk to the team at Bonfire. They are across all of this stuff. It helps with 6% more conversions for your business. If you want to maximize value, video view campaigns, again, 40% more views at 50% lower cost per views, right? Who doesn't want that? So a lot of these improvements are being developed because of AI in our products. And maximizing reach. Essentially, you want to reach more audiences. The video reach product is available to you to deliver 54% more reach with format agnostic campaigns at 42% lower costs. Again, all this would not have been possible if we've not done those investments, and if customers have not lent in to utilize these products as well, and let the machines learn how to be more profitable for you as a business. So 2 questions, again, you should be asking your teams is around what AI-powered campaign solutions are you testing or are you already using? If you're not, then I've shared a few options before. Definitely talk to the team at Bonfire. And once you see the results of, we've seen these are averages that I've spoken about, 42% reduction in costs, et cetera, et cetera. And once you start seeing results, how are you scaling that across, across your solutions and your business needs as well? Finally, creative, right? 80% of marketers deem creative quality key to marketing effectiveness, okay? But it actually, it just feels absolutely impossible, to generate that volume, at the volume that you wanna drive those creatives, or the velocity. However, AI is being able to really move that needle for you and remove some of the drain that you feel as a business to invest in resources on creative, right? That's all changing with Google AI. We're building solutions in Google Ads, in creative assets that really help, with customization of these creatives for the needs that you have as a business. Some examples are, solutions like flip video, trim video, and automatically generated assets that can actually be reformatted as well for your needs and benefits at scale within Google Solutions. We also have generative AI in Performance Max that we've created, which helps build new text and image assets with just a few clicks. If you've not tried it before, highly encourage you to have a play around with it. When I first tried it, I was actually blown away by the speed and the execution of it, and the quality as well. And then we've got product studios. Imagine spending days and hours getting product fit right, images right, etc. This can now be done in minutes with Product Studio as well. So getting clean cut, sort of like really great images, ready to be used in multiple different platforms, just not Google, can be created as well. Now, there is conversational experience with Google Ads now. All you need to do is get onto the platform and say, create new search, add headlines and descriptions, generate relevant keywords, suggest images and site links for me as I build this campaign. You can do all of this with conversational experience in Google Ads today as well. And there's more to come. Like, we're just scratching on the surface with all this stuff, right? YouTube creators, if you're in that, if that's part of your business, and if you're into that, there's so much happening over there. Folks using green screen, Dream Track to really build sort of like new content, add soundtracks to videos, using AI to streamline their production, turning out long form ads into like short form ads, coming up with new concepts. All of that can be done in the tools today within Google itself. Now, I told you that we're going to be putting Google AI to work for you, right? And these are the ways that we are essentially helping marketers do that, and leave the marketing to you guys, right? Get the work done by somebody else, but essentially you will be able to get that chance to do the marketing. Again, 2 questions to ask your team. How are you using generative AI in creative process to generate assets? And if you are using AI tools to scale creative across devices, platforms, and across key formats for yourselves. I want to leave you with a gift. Scan this QR code, and you will be able to essentially see everything that I've spoken about on Google AI Essentials. It has all of this stuff. It will be across a couple of couple of pages, and you'll be able to get all of this in one go. So g.co-ads.ai-essentials if you are not a fan of scanning, but if not, just go ahead and scan that QR code. Now, the time is now to put Google AI to work for you all, right? Essentially, 3 things are happening. 1, next level demand and growth. We spoke about that through everything that I've just shared. Sorry, did you still have to take the, I can see a few people who didn't scan. I just moved. All right, I'll give you a couple more seconds. All right, I can see a Still a few more phones up. All righty. Okay. You good there, sir? All good. Thank you. All right. I know Rob's giving me the sign there, like, move on, buddy. Okay. So I want to leave you with this. The time is now, right? We spoke about next level growth and demand that can be generated with everything that I've spoken about. But there's this content. There's a lot going on, and I was sharing with Rene just before breakfast about some of the changes we are seeing, and so inspiring to see some of the businesses really take this on and transform the way they're doing business and changing their customer experiences. It's very exciting. So a few examples essentially are around that I wanted to share, and for those who want to geek out with this stuff like me, there's stuff around Google Workspace. Duet AI for workspaces. Bringing multiple things to actually get work done. Duet AI for Google Cloud, essentially, as well, is really helping cloud developers to be more productive. Imagine, a technology that can help you actually do your code. I did computer science as a bachelor's degree, and I wish this was there back in the days. I spent hours just sitting and bloody learning how to do code. But it's just changing the way people are doing code today. So across multiple languages, for those of you who are familiar, across Go, across Java, Python, and SQL as well. But look, it's beyond all of this. It's essentially really helping transform businesses, right? There's an example around conversational chat now that businesses are integrating into their customer experience. All we need to do is really get that first-party data, enrich that data, and build these systems using Google AI to really change the customer's experience. Example, case in point being, went on a website the other day to buy my son a toy. The website actually knew who I was, what was my last purchase, and potentially asking me questions about any issues with the product that I had just purchased, and who do I want to speak with. Just that experience is going to take me back to that one business again and again, because they make my life easier. I am not on a phone waiting for someone to answer and then understand me as a customer. That's because what that business did is they had their first-party data, who is me, and made it essentially useful from a customer experience perspective, right? Which is changing the game. I know out of time, but what I want to leave you with is this. When we think about AI at Google, we think about it from this maturity phase. So these are the 6 pillars of maturity that we look at. Essentially, the first one is, do I, as a business and at Google and as a leader of the business, do I have a strategy for AI, right? The second one is data management, right? I spoke about the first-party data. We spoke about getting that right. Do we have our data management in place? Do we have the right talent and skills? Or if we don't, are we partnering with the right people who have the talent and skills, right? Are we creating a culture within our organization about AI and to utilize AI, for our businesses? Are our teams internally in the organization, doesn't matter if you're in finance or marketing, but are they actually speaking about how AI can really help transform business? Is there a culture of AI within your organization? Third is ethics and governance. Making sure that we are able to evaluate our approach about how we are ethically utilizing AI. AI can be used in multiple different ways. We've seen multiple examples of how people are using AI for misinformation, etc. There's elections going on in different parts of the world now, and how they're using deep fake videos to drive some of those miscommunications. But there are multiple. But are we essentially using AI in the right way? And the last one is, do we have the technology and tools within our organization? And if we don't, are we thinking about it? Are we prepared and open to investing in it as a business and as an organization? And the last slide is, before asking what organizations or companies like Bonfire can do for you as a business, ask yourself, what do you want and what are you ready for, right? The first one is, do you want to change, right? What do you want to achieve? Do you have the capabilities? and you have the technology to do it. With that, I want to say a big thank you for listening to me rambling away. I hope that was helpful. And I want to call up Matt or Renee onto stage. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ren. Yeah, this is not how I expected to be presenting today, as you can imagine. So I luckily had most of this presentation completed before we were getting up here to present today, so that is very lucky. And so I had the team at Bonfire help me finish off a little bit of this deck. So yeah, we'll be going through today a bit of an insight. Do we have a clicker for this? Oh, yeah. All right, so as I said, here to talk about the changing search marketing landscape. So funnily enough, I did this slide before my accident, and I thought it would be a really cool way to integrate one of my passions in cycling into this presentation. But we're talking about SGE, so I want to just get a bit of a show of hands and see where everyone's knowledge is at in the room. So in terms of you know, the first little cyclist down there, who's heard of SGE before in the room? And maybe they're aware of sort of, okay, so we got some good understanding. What about people who are maybe halfway up and more towards the top of the mountain where they've started testing some of their brand queries in SGE, started exploring what the results look like, that sort of thing? Okay, so we've got a few people that have heard of it, not many people who have tested it. So I'm going to go into a little bit more granular detail today around how it works and what we can do as marketers to prepare for it in the future. So we'll look at what Google looks like today. So in terms of a Google search result, as you can see on screen there, we've got a featured snippet at the top of the page. We've got a people also ask section on Google there as well. And we've got our regular organic results that start down the bottom of the page. And this is what we're all kind of familiar with from a search experience point of view. If we move into what Google looks like as part of their search generative experience, we can see that at the top of the page, we now have a huge AI overview. And what Google's trying to do here is they're trying to answer that query and provide an AI answer to that query right at the top of the page with all the information that you might need to be satisfied with that search. So it's sort of like that featured snippet on steroids. You can see that there's the people also ask and the organic results still remain on the page, but they're just sort of shifting further down. So obviously having this large AI answer at the top of the page is a really big change, and it's something that we need to think about from a marketing perspective in how does that change our experience with customers and with our brand. So I'm going to dive into a couple of different answer types and show some more granular detail on what SGE actually looks like. So this is a search query here for a first homeowners grant query. And you can see the AI answer here is really looking to give people information on how much the first homeowners grant is and some of the eligibility requirements that they might have for qualifying for that. So a pretty good answer to that sort of query. You can see that within the AI answer, there are some links and some citations. And these are a couple of the ways that we can start to win when it comes to search generative experience or AI search. So we've got these carousel links at the top right-hand side of the page. And we also have citations that are included with those little drop-downs within the text itself. So those citations are a really important thing. These are essentially those little references that back up the immediate text above from the AI answer. So that's sort of a way of Google saying, we're confident that this information is correct because it was found on these websites. So that is one way that we can win as marketers in this sort of AI future, is getting our websites included as citations for these sorts of queries. We can also look at various strategies to get our sites included in the carousel links, which are the top right-hand side. And think of these like, these are websites that are providing a broad topic overview of this query, and they might have some more information that is relevant if you wanted to dive a little bit deeper, not just a specific citation. But this isn't the only format of our SGE answers. We've seen other formats that really heavily favour information from things like Google My Business. So for this query here around Bonfire, our business, you can see that at the top we've got a hero image. So we've got to think about where that image is being pulled from and what that image is, and is it relevant for our business? We've seen some rich photos pulled as well for this search query. And then again, we've got reviews being pulled for our business as well. So these are coming from different information sources on the web, not just our website. It's coming from things like reviews left on other platforms, from our Google My Business listing and other things like that. You can see here that for this query, this is a more shopping specific query. Again, bikes, classic. Where Google's providing some very specific product recommendations. And you can see the search query at the top there is quite specific as well. So some very specific products are being recommended. And you can see here as well, this shopping experience is quite different to what you might be used to in Google. It's almost starting to go more towards that Amazon or eBay level experience where there are product filtering options, there are refinements to the search query that can be made at the top of the page. And so this is sort of the direction that we may be heading towards with these AI overviews or with this search generative experience. So I think it's important to understand how SGE actually works, because if we understand how it works, we can get a bit more insight into how we might be able to influence it for our businesses. So take this example here on this search query for best laptops as an example here. Now, in an AI world where Google's providing an AI answer, the large language models that power that functionality, think of them like they're generalists. They have a really good understanding on a broad range of topics, but they might not be up to date with the latest laptops that have been released or the most powerful new things that have hit the market. So in terms of the way that an AI engine is able to provide a relevant answer to a query for this, it uses a concept called retrieval augmented generation. And what that means is that there is an information retrieval step completed before the AI answer is provided to the end user. So what is happening in the background is that when a query like this is entered into Google, the AI overview or the SGE answer is really looking to get some enhanced context around that query. So it might be using things like Google's knowledge graph, which is their database of entities, which are people, places, and things. Or it might be looking at information contained in search documents that are relevant to that query. Or it might be looking at external sources like Wikipedia. And essentially what it's doing is it's bundling up all of the relevant information it needs to pass that over to Google's large language model, which this is just one of Google's models, which is Pathways language model, where it's bundling in that original query, all of that enhanced context is getting passed over as well, and it's able to then generate an answer that is relevant for somebody searching today around what might be the latest laptop on the market or the best laptop. So it's sort of split into two steps here. It's the gathering information and the retrieval stage, and then it's the text generation stage. So hopefully your minds are thinking around, if we wanted to be able to influence the answers provided in AI in the future, well, we really need our businesses to start getting included in that gathering information stage. So we did exactly that. We spent many, many hours doing research around SGE results in Australia, which is actually quite difficult because it hasn't been publicly released in Australia. So SGE is on trial in several countries around the world, and it's actually just launched in the US for a select amount of queries by default for everyone, but for all the other countries included in the trial, it's currently an opt-in trial that you have to opt in for. So we actually had to pretend that we were from the US using a VPN to do this research. But what we ended up doing is we ended up looking at 200 different queries that we'd sort of type in manually and record the results for that were sort of relevant for 92 Australian brands. So we were really looking at how might SGE look when it does launch in Australia, and what are some things that marketers and business owners need to be aware of. So the first thing is that we saw a very distinct treatment in branded results. So what we saw was the answers provided by Google for branded queries versus non-branded queries. We did see that there were much more automatically generated AI answers in the non-branded space, something that you might expect. But we did still see that 12% of branded queries did include an AI-generated answer. So start to think about that from a marketing perspective. You know, what is the AI answer saying about my brand for a given branded query, for example? We also saw that reputable and powerful domains had a very strong presence in the overall result set. And what I mean by that is when we were looking at all of the citations and carousel links included in our AI answers, we saw an overrepresentation on some of these most powerful sites. So sites like Facebook, YouTube, and we didn't actually set this up just because Business News is a sponsor, but Business News were there in the Australian results set as one of those highly trusted sources that's being used as citations and carousel links when people are searching in an AI future. And then the other thing we noted is that the content and very specifically where the content's located and how it is written on your website is extremely important. In that we found several examples where Google was exactly referencing sentences or paragraphs of text in an AI answer that it had found on other websites that it thought might be a good answer to the query. So just thinking about the text that you have on the website and its ability to answer somebody's intent and somebody's query is a really important one to start thinking about. And we have a whole, there's actually a lot more to this research than just what we have on the screen. So bonfire.com.au/SGE, and there is some additional info there as well for you guys to have a look at. So what do we need to know as marketers coming into the future? Well, we're heading towards more of a zero-click future. What do I mean by that? Well, I've got an example on screen here for a query around watering days. So if you are a marketing, part of the marketing team at the Water Corporation, this would definitely be a type of query that you'd be interested in targeting. And you think about the traditional sort of journey for a user looking for this search query might be on the left-hand side, where they'll type it into Google, they'll see the Water Corporation website ranking in the first position, they'll click on that and they'll go through and get information around what days they should be watering. If we look towards the future and what that might look like, you can see on the right-hand side there that the watering days information is now being provided to the user in the search result, right? However, you can see there that in this instance, the Water Corporation website isn't listed as one of those trusted citations, or the hero image on the top of the page isn't actually the Water Corporation logo or any information from their site. So from a marketing perspective, there's still a transaction happening here. A user's searching for information and the Water Corporation want to provide the correct information to them on what their watering days are. We just have to think about it in a different frame of mind. So it doesn't mean that we're not going to have any impact here. We're just having impact on a different platform. So rather than them coming through to the website to understand and get that information and change their behaviour, they're potentially getting that in the search result. So what do we need to do if we were part of the marketing team at the Water Corporation to make sure the information is correct and get our website included as a citation? So that's where we sort of need to be thinking about moving forwards. So it's obvious that you may see less website traffic when these AI answers roll out. There's been various studies done, and they're all quite speculative, to be honest with you. And there's sort of different ranges you can see on screen there around how it might impact some businesses in some industries. It's very hard to do a general summary on that because it is very industry specific and very speculative. But you would think that the overall impact of more answers being provided on screen is that there will be less clicks through to our websites. But as I said, it doesn't mean we're having no impact because our customers are still searching. So as we know, there is an ongoing growth in the amount of queries being conducted in Google every single year. So we just have to think about reaching these customers in different ways, and it's not always going to be about bringing them through to our website. So the customer experience is obviously going to change for our customers. And we see here again 2 examples pre and post AI search or SGE. And we can see on the left-hand side there, traditionally, if you were a business and you were looking to target this query, you might be thinking, well, I have to produce a really good category page on my website that showcases all the best bike locks specific for e-bikes, and Google will eventually reward that. Customers will come through and browse our range of products. In the future, what we might see is Google providing product recommendations in the search result. So from the point of view of this business, the electric bike company who's ranking in first position here, what we really need to think about is how do we get our products included in this list on the right-hand side in the future, and how do we become one of the recommended retailers so that we're included as a store when people see these products in Google search. So it's a very different way of thinking about how you might target that customer. The other really big point that I want to talk about today is brand search as well. I think as marketers and business owners, we often don't really think too much about branded search from an organic point of view, because traditionally the journey has been that we own that space. And if someone searches for information about my brand or business, I'm generally going to rank in the first position, they're going to click through, and then I control the narrative from there. They're going to land on my homepage, I can show them the messaging I want, I can use personalization, etc., etc. Now with SGE, we're going to see some of those branded queries start to be answered in the SERP. And I've got an example on screen there. And essentially, we're sort of losing a little bit of that control around branded search. And so you can see on the left-hand side, we have that small featured snippet. It's very likely that someone would click on the link following that and go through the website to learn more. Whereas on the right-hand side, the answer is there for you to read. And you can see again, Kathmandu isn't included as a citation for that first answer. So, you know, that would be something you'd be looking to do if you were working there at that business. But it's also around making sure we understand what is the overall sentiment of these AI answers that Google is providing about our brand. And what do we need to do to measure it and influence the answers that it is providing in the long run? So it really brings that branded search element to organic search back to the forefront. We need to start paying attention to it again, because we're not always going to control it just by default. The other one I've thrown in here, which is a bit of a funny tweet, I guess, that I found, which is whenever there's a huge change in the search landscape, everyone says, you know, SEO is dead. You know, that's the end of that. Google's providing AI answers now. We're not needing to worry about it. It's really the complete opposite in my mind. I think, you know, as long as people search for information, there's going to be ways of optimizing our businesses and making sure our businesses are included in the results provided to the user. It might not always now result in them coming through as a click to our website, but we're definitely still having conversations with our customers and still influencing opinion through these results. So the search, the way we search is going to start to change. And you can see on the screen there, this is a video that Google used in their live demo a week or so ago, where if you were quick enough to catch the search query typed in there, it's a very, very long tail query. And if we think about where we're going in the future with these really personalized answers and results, is that Google's going to be able to provide very personalized, accurate information for very long tail queries. So we're going to, as businesses, start to see search queries become longer and longer and longer and more complex. And so we need to make sure that we have content, information, etc., that's relevant for these more personalized and longer tail queries. And there's going to be a new sort of ways of searching are going to start to emerge, which are, you know, this is another video from the live demo where there's a search being conducted here, which is a voice search and a video search combined in one, and an AI answer provided on top of that. So as Arshad was mentioning, it's not just about text anymore. It's about all these different formats of search and making sure we have information that will be relevant for these sorts of things moving forwards. So again, another one of my passions, snowboarding. I thought I would include it in here, but I just wanted to talk about, again, these results, they're able to now be very highly personalized. So those longer tail queries are going to power highly personalized results, which are going to be much more relevant. And we need to start thinking about, from a business point of view, how do we make sure all these little attributes and features are included with our, in this case, products, so that they can be surfaced in these sorts of results. So as marketers, what do we need to do to start preparing for this, this future? I think the number one thing I will say is you can't forget the basics here. So there's been a long established framework for best practice in terms of making sure our website content is indexable, accessible, crawlable. All of those fundamentals still need to absolutely remain, in that things like, you know, your website speed and your mobile experience and your indexation and all of those things absolutely still need to be thought about, because at the end of the day, the content that's powering these AI results, Google needs to be able to read it, find it, and crawl it on your website in order to include you in those results. So those fundamentals in terms of organic search do not go out the window. The other one I will say that is an important one, I just talked about the branded search example on screen, but it is important for us as marketers to, what I would call, conduct a brand audit. Now, what I mean by that is the AI overviews are powered by things like Google's knowledge graph. And think about Google's knowledge graph as a database that contains information about your business. And your business has got attributes like when it was founded, who the CEO is, the phone number, the address, the logo, all those sorts of things. If we don't have the correct information going in to Google's knowledge graph, then the AI overviews may start providing incorrect information about your brand. So I've got this saying here, which is rubbish in, rubbish out, which is really sort of just saying that if you have unmanaged references across the web about your business, where it includes old phone numbers, old addresses, old logos, maybe you've even got old URLs included, you can't expect Google's AI answer to provide perfect information about your business, because you're essentially informing their knowledge graph that there's all this different fragmented information online about my business, and it's trying to piece together what it thinks is correct. So you really need to look at doing that brand audit online. What are other websites saying about my brand? What are the reviews online? That's great for a small living space. You can get your product included in the results set. We have some more information as well on the screen here around SGE, and this is some of those SGE studies that we released. So if you'd like to remember that URL or scan the QR code up there, you'll be able to see a bit of an information hub we put together with some of these learnings that everyone can take away. But I hope that's provided some more insight into specifically what's happening with search and what the future might look like in an AI world.
We'll just kick off with AI removing more and more human control around Google product suite and Google Search Experience in particular. What are your thoughts of people who are questioning the potential bias in terms of the results and the optimizations and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, great question. Look, we spoke about this in my section of the presentation, right? That in terms of our entire goal is to ensure that everything that we're doing with Google and its products is to be helpful, right? It goes back to the mission of the company when we actually started the company, saying, look, Google is here to be helpful. And if you look at it from any parts of the products that we've launched, maps or search, it's essentially trying to just do that. In terms of the biases, there are tests being done, right, at all times. So there always, before we launch anything, there is multiple level of tests that happen to ensure that, you know, the quality of the output of any products or solutions that are being out is up to the mark. I would encourage us to do the same, right? If you are doubtful about the content or the production or the output that AI is generating versus what potentially a non-AI solution could do, there's always an opportunity to test it out. I don't think that would be the right approach towards, if you have biases in your own mind, to do away with them.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of anecdotal evidence that optimization is a lot better at getting there. And, that's kind of the nature of the
Yes.
AI process.
We also saw that in the example I shared about Performance Max, right? Performance Max, by the way, it's getting more traction now and people are getting familiar with it now. But I remember having a conversation with somebody in our headquarters back in the US about 6 years ago about this, right? So you can imagine the amount of tests and the use cases and the research that went behind actually deploying AI in Google Ads and to a product like Performance Max, bringing it out to the masses, amount of research and tests that got done before. Again, it went down to went down to actually doing a lot of tests and coming up with results and identifying those and analyzing those. And then once you're comfortable, because at the end of the day, there are businesses who are investing money into this, which are at stake, right? And Google, again, going back to the mission, is want to be helpful. So it would be remiss if we didn't do that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Matt? Having
Yeah.
looked at the SG point of view?
I think if we all think about where the search experience we all have as users and what that might look like in the future, these AI overviews, they're really going to power highly, highly personalized and relevant searches for all of us. So where I may have been trained by using Google over the years to search for keyword, my son, when he grows up, he won't know any different in searching through a really long, he'll literally maybe pick up his phone and ask a really long question to Google. And he'll get very personalized, highly accurate results that may have not been possible in the pre-AI world. So really it's going to power an improved experience for all of us searching. And we just need to think about, as marketers, well, how do we plug into that?
Yeah, 5-year-old kids are the example of those never-ending questions.
Yep.
Yeah. It's moving away from content only to now content plus context.
Yep.
That's what we are saying at Google as well. So content plus context is what's the next level of search.
Yeah, great. Perfect. One of the biggest concerns when Gen I kind of jumped into the scene, probably late 2022, was impact on jobs and future careers and all of that sort of stuff. I know you kind of said, look, the AI is not going to do the marketing, but some people like to think that might just be a narrative that's being shared to protect a few people. How do you see that playing out for marketers and technical specialists in light of what we shared today?
Yeah, I think we've seen multiple inflection points, right? We spoke about the inflection point when mobile was going through the transformation. But let's, look back even maybe a couple of decades back as well. There was another inflection point that happened when digital cameras came into the space, right? At that time, all the photographers, content creators, producers, Hollywood was like, oh shit, it's gone, our jobs are going, and what do we do now? Because, it's going to go to the masses. But just look what's happened, right? It's given birth to OTTs, it's given birth to platforms, it's given birth to TikTok, it's given birth to, Shorts, Google, YouTube. At any point when these inflection points happen, it only creates more opportunities, and that's what history has taught us, right? What we need to think about, and for me as well, like if I'm not across or on top of what's happening in my industry with AI, potentially I will be at risk, right? So it's about us trying to stay, informed in terms of how we can play in that space and how we can essentially make the most of the change that's happening. So, and I still believe that as marketers, we understand. Our customers, we understand the audience. AI will continue to play a very big role being a tool to enable you, but essentially it's not going to be doing the job.
Anything further on that?
No, I agree. I think, when we look at these huge, and, as Ren said, I've been in this industry for quite a while as well, and this feels as big of a change as we've ever seen. But with any huge technological change, I think it creates new opportunities. So, if we think about the customer experience now with our businesses and with our brands, those things are now being increasingly fragmented and becoming more complex. So customers are now, in addition to having experiences on our website, they're having experiences with our brand on Google itself. So it's increasing the complexity for us as marketers to be able to influence, measure and track that. So, it's not in those ways necessarily taking anything away. It's maybe adding another layer that we need to think about.
Yeah, very true. And it's almost like you need AI in your back pocket to be able to service modern marketing, given the complexity of it.
Yep.
And I think Kodak might disagree with you in terms of digital cameras, but anyway. One from the floor. Will search queries need to be location specific so the right product services are retrieved?
I would say not always, no. Google has a very good understanding around where you're searching from. If you're on a device, for example, Google has a good understanding of where you're actually located because it will ask for your location. So if you were to complete a broader search without specifying a location, it will often power local results if it believes they're relevant to you for that query. So you don't have to always be explicit in a location as a user when you're searching, and that applies to desktop as well in a lot of instances.
Okay, great. Will the shopping, another one from the floor, anonymous, thank you. Will the shopping experience in SGE include services or will it be purely product-based?
Yeah, so I think the shopping experience now is primarily product-focused. So it's really about those e-commerce retailers and those products that you can buy online. Service-based businesses are the answer type that SGE provide. If you're looking for, say, the best plumber, for example, the SGE answer types that are coming back are still including things like Google business listings. It's still looking at businesses that have high reviews online, businesses that are located close to your search location, those sorts of things. So I think service-based businesses still are more aligned to that map-based experience rather than a product-based experience in Google.
If AI, they're all coming through, so now, I'm just going to go with the latest one. Sorry, guys, I'm favoring up the prioritisation system. Whose responsibility will it be to ensure this AI information is accurate? The brand or the search engine?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I'll answer first. I don't know if you'll have anything to add on that, but I think as marketers, we need to do everything we can to power the AI engine with the correct information to answer that query about our brand. So I think if an AI engine is providing incorrect information about our brand online and we haven't maintained our brand health online to the full extent, I think as marketers, we're sort of liable that we might have dropped the ball a little bit there. And we really need to be focusing on how is our brand, what does our brand look like online, what do our reviews look like, what does the information online say about our brand, and what can we do to influence that? And really the AI answers are going to be looking at all of that context to provide an answer. So yeah, I would say the brand health side of things definitely falls on us as marketers to be on top of.
Yeah. I'll add to that. I think if you go back to the flywheel I shared earlier about the creative, the measurement, we spoke about it and it was all yours, right? So it goes back to that. Now, what we feed in the engine is what it's going to be able to, take that and really generate through that and provide that information out to the market, right? So the responsibility sits on us.
Yeah, and I guess it's just more complicated, right? I think historically, as marketers and brand owners, we've just known that we rely on our website to kind of control that.
Yeah.
I said in this presentation, whereas now that responsibility and the onus kind of spreads more widely across the web, given how many things it's referencing. Yeah, okay. Apparently someone likes your shirt, Matt. I'd like to know where you got it from.
Thank you. Target.
A couple more, I'm going to call it. If AI is creating less direct traffic to my site, then I'm likely to spend less on ads because I'll struggle to build a business case for my advertising budget. Is that true?
Could you repeat that?
Makes sense. If SGE is creating less direct traffic to my site, then I'm likely to spend less on ads because I'll struggle to build a business case to grow my advertising budget. Is true.
It's the age-old question of organic versus paid. That's what I...
Nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if I think about Google as a business, right, the advertising part of Google's business is absolutely enormously important to Google. And so if we think about the way that Google has been talking about ads integration with SGE and what that looks like moving forwards, you know, right now it feels, to be honest with you, it feels a little bit like a bit of a bolt-on at the moment. But what Google has said through their investor calls is that they're looking at new ad formats and new placements that might be available to marketers in the future. So I think that the interaction of ads with the AI future is really, and the AI search results is going to change in the future as well. And we might have new exciting ways of advertising our businesses within that. So yeah, I think it's in terms of the less traffic argument with the AI search and what does that mean for our business. Like I sort of said in the presentation, your customers are still searching. There's not going to be a drop in people looking for information about your brand or about your products. And it's really just about reframing the idea that success is tied to website traffic. And in the future, success might be tied to things like AI brand sentiment for our business, or it might be tied to other health measures around our brand that we want to track. So it's going to change a little bit, and we're going to need time as marketers to adapt to that. But I think being open to that change is an important one.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. What I'd add to that is we saw how search is changing, right? It's no longer just, you know, a search in a text in a box. So there's voice, there's scribble, even humming, which I shared earlier. And with all of that, there are products and solutions that are coming out to be able to enable that more and more in the ads, you know, suite of solutions, which again goes back to us in terms of what we want to adopt for our businesses. What does it make sense? Which makes sense for our business? Going back to the business goals we spoke about, you know, demand gen. If you want to, like, you know, create more demand, doing demand gen along with those aspects are part of the ads suite of solutions. Now, again, going back to Matt's point, it's a combination of the two. Now, as business and marketers, we'll need to essentially identify what does those investments look like and where do we put that.
Yeah, very much so. And it's also about testing, right? We've seen it with this whole AI context about testing, measuring the impact of having organic and paid working in hand, whether it's right combo or not. I'm getting around. Like, one last question and then we'll call it. If you're going back to that, as obviously it probably will be, and have one thing to prioritise to set your business or agency up for success around AI and Google today, what would it be? That one thing to prioritise in the office when you go back.
Just go back to those 5-6 pillars I spoke about. Get your team together and do a quick huddle and ask that question. Where are we in this? And just do a heat map of it. And then from there, you know, forge the future plan for your business.
I would say the number one thing you could do is start reading and learning a little bit more about, specifically when I'm talking about search here, is SGE, how it works, and get a bit more of an understanding, because like I said in the how it works slide, as marketers, if we understand how it works, we can understand how we might be able to influence it in the future. So I know that not everyone had a ton of experience with it, and that's granted, given it's a trial not available in Australia at the moment, but do what you can to start researching it online and learning more about it, because it will come eventually.
Yeah, great advice. I think education at the moment, especially these early stage, is really important. Arshad, Matt, thank you very much for your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a round of applause.